Hey there, it is Phoenix Amore. So basically, it is time to break down the dreams, visions. See, you can't even call them dreams because when I talked about God being this genius that is in the know well ahead of folks, right? You have to understand how powerful it is for God to say, these people here are going to probably keep doing this same thing. The biggest sign that's going to happen is this fire, for real. So understand something very clearly. When I had the vision, right, it was such that all the symbolism is very deep, because you have to understand, I said stir in the pot, somebody was cooking, right? They come to find out this Bel Air fire, somebody was illegally cooking, and then it started the fire. So understand though, when it shows me a certain person, right, connected to it, some events are fated to send people or a person a very loud message, right? So when I said all hell came for this person, understand something. This person still had some choices that they could have made or not made, right, in order to avoid it. But because of the way that they were making their fish, understand something, it was meant that they got caught up in that whole thing so people could see the connection. That's what's so deep about it. And understanding more powerfully, right, when I'm looking at them saying, I'll make my own fish. She was looking at me with this glare of whatever, and I'm just like, girl, I'll make my own fish. That's not even the verses. That is the key thing when I'm like, hey, when this pops off around you, by the way, it's not something that I'm even connected with, because they had choices, and rather than pay attention, right, because it gets to the point where they need to perpetrate, right, we got to keep going with this, we went with this now, they messed themselves up, because this fire is sitting there, the big sign that I said 2 years ago was going to happen is happening. Still not a versus. Guess what? This is where I talk about my cross being heavy, because this is the frustration, if you can imagine, God having to prep me for it. You're going to see stuff well ahead of time. Sometimes I'll have you intervene. Sometimes I'll tell you, move around from these people. So you've now seen me have how many times where I'm looking back at them saying, I'm not interested. Now it's not even the, oh, I'm all that. Now it's simply, I am never, have no desire. You know I'm not like that. Think about the words that I'm saying to them. Okay, and then there was no fighting. So I talk about the whole thing with hip hop now and the beef and all this kind of stuff. I don't feel like it. And it's not a fear, it's not a weakness. It's like, look what this has become. It's high school, it's petty. So now you have this one that's locked up, and this is why I say their PR, they basically put nails in other people's coffins, because now it's a little different. When you have online, when you have social media, they can see you guys' behavior all the time. So what you take as PR, they're taking as, guess what? If we let this one out, he's going to go right back to doing exactly what the same circle of people are doing, which you are appearing like you harass people if they don't agree with you. So you have to understand that is taking somebody's right and freedom away. This is a country that's about freedom. So when they keep seeing these ones doing the same thing, even though supposedly fake PR to them, it's still actually affecting people in very negative ways. Look how far they go. And they know what I'm speaking of. And that's why I said I can't respect it, right? Because that's like, let's take the NBA for example. That's like the NBA saying, we don't want high talent people because we don't want certain level of competition. That's where I look at hip hop like it's a joke. And that's why I said I'm not hip hop, because even with their platform of this whole beef thing, if they're blocking out certain talent, some people are going to always look like they're the best talent. Somebody got the crown of this year. But guess what? Y'all know y'all shut out people. So you now understand when I said the whole thing about why would NBA want to link themselves to something like hip hop, where they do the crown thing and all that, but they block out competition. NBA doesn't do that. So there's really no connection between the two. So what you saw me basically very clearly say with all their marketing, because you remember there was this whole thing, right? And when I said it right a while back, and I said, oh, so you got this rapper, and I kept trying to point out what they started doing. They started doing it. Because I started talking about one team, then it was like, oh, this is our chance to have this big PR. No, but I'm not interested in that drama. So you start seeing real signs popping off, because some point it did not click to them. I'm not a rapper. guess what? This is actually pretty serious. So when they send there maneuvering, one rapper, Houston rapper this other rapper, blah, I'm like, they don't get it. Unfortunately, now with the fires, right, that I saw 2 years ago popping off for real, now I'm sure they get it. But guess what? Now there's no connection. There was no connection before. The message was always, I'll make my own fish. I'm not interested in being connected to that. Regardless of how mad this person was staring at me, I'm like, look, here's the message. Make your fish how you want to make it, but understand this is what I saw as a result, direct result of them doing it that way. Fire. And there it was. And the timing of it, right? How everything played out the way that it is, there's a direct affiliation connection with them. So when I talk now moving forward about certain people with your causes, and I say, this is not a good time to be affiliated with so-and-so, guess what? That's more about their actions and their habits, to where if you're trying to lean on them for your cause, people are like, we don't like how they move, so we're not going to even listen to their words anymore. This is what happened to the one that's in jail. This is what's happened to this QB, because you PR'd. You PR'd to the point where people are like, no, 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 no. If you say you gave up something to be this activist and all that, then give it up. So they basically make their cause look like it was fake from jump. And this is where I said, okay, so who is actually real? Because with them being, that's why I call them vultures, because it's true. This one quarterback gets hurt, and all of a sudden it's like, ooh, here's a chance for so-and-so. What? So you're basically saying he didn't give up anything, so he's really not this activist that deserved this award, and basically unwinding themselves. So that's what I said a long time ago. Sorry for the people in California going through the fires, but as I got to point out on a science level, when I talked about being physicist on the beats, when I talked about science for real and trying to push back on some of the rappers, right, who talk about other things constantly that we know gets old, and I'm like, I'm not even on the same board as you. I'm not even talking the same way as you. I'm on some whole different level stuff. That's something they could not accept. So you have to just leave that there and just keep it moving. But the science of it, when they talk about the dry air, and for me to be able to break it down, damn, there's no humidity there. So when I put all this symbolism, right, when the talk about he'll come to us like rain, I'm like, there's no God in that storm. You understand when I said all hell, with this being Lucifer's dominion, came for this person. She perpetrating like she's this virgin, whatever entity, deity that she was perpetrating to be. Guess what's looking for her? It is that kind of simple. So when I talked about a long time ago, right, when I said I was able to answer, that's because God prepped me to be that for real. So all that stuff that I talked about with people changing lanes and marketing and faking with the spiritual stuff, it's caught up with them. And so the real people that were ordained, like in this matter, I was really, right, chosen to be something that God said, this is what your role is, right? And so to have people try to market it, they cannot handle it because they weren't prepped for it. So hopefully that now explains it to people very thoroughly. I'm prayers for California. I really haven't had many more dreams about the fire stuff, because this is the big event that I was seeing a long time ago. So when I talked about my cross being heavy, that's what I meant. To take care.